Hello everybody, Nick Davis here. We're going to be returning to my White Dwarf walkthrough. This is going to be for White Dwarf 224, August 1998. Before we get started, there's a couple of things I want to say. These are going to be walkthroughs of White Dwarfs that I've worked on, and going forward we might do some walkthroughs of basically products and supplements that I've worked on. White Dwarfs and supplements I've not worked on. I'm not going to be able to walk through without really giving you any. I'm not going to give you any inside information because if I don't work on it, I don't know any of the secrets. A couple of things I also want to say as well. These White Dwarf walkthroughs are basically done with memories and recollections, which are going to be a little bit unreliable because it's basically I'm trying to remember stuff I did like 25 years ago, and also basically this is a reflection of the time of Games Workshop in 90s, where basically if you know a little bit about basically how they treated staff at the time, you understand that some of my more sarcastic comments when we look at some of the training ads. That being said, let's take a little look at White Dwarf 224. This is the UK edition, which I pulled from my archives. I don't have many UK editions in my archives, but I will do my best to basically locate as many as I can so you can see them. As you can see, it's a fantastic piece of artwork on the cover here. This is from Warhammer Siege. Absolutely brutal looking, basically attack on Kislev. I think that's basically what's going on there. In this White Dwarf, we've got to look forward to Legion of the Damned Army list, Warhammer Siege Battle Report, Epic 40k Titan Tactics, New Necromunda Pit Slave Gang, more City of the Damned rules, Chaos Cultists, and stacks of stunning new miniatures. At this time, I have started working for White Dwarf proper. White Dwarf does their production work 3 months out, so the August edition would have been done back in May. So I started working in April. April is when I actually started working for White Dwarf on White Dwarf 223, which is basically the July issue. I think I've got that right, haven't I? Maybe not, maybe I hope I have. She got it right. My work was primarily at the start of working on White Dwarf was basically AV production assistance. It means basically I helped assisted with layout and did layouts, and occasionally I moved into advertorial as basically Paul, so that I could actually kind of write something and make it kind of interesting. That being said, the only work I would have done here is probably supplied the barcode and put into place here for the print cover. Then we got basically, and we'll take a second and take a look at the cover itself. There's good old Whitey Dwarf over there. I think that was drawn by, yeah, that's Wayne England over there. Sad that guy passed, real good guy. And no further proof, let's man the ramparts. Warhammer Siege is here. So turn in the cover. First thing you're going to notice is I've got a big chunk missing from my dwarf here. Yes, you can see it over here. Let's see if I can move it more into the camera. There we go. So basically that's having there some kind of dried thing. I don't actually know what it is, and I'm not going to take a closer examination to basically take a look at it. Here we have basically the standard contents page. At this point we'll get a bit more pictorial. As you can see, Siege of Ravenburg is going to be the battle report between Govern Davidson and Thomas Perrin. Basically news articles got coming up. Primary contents, which is basically non-specific, is given in here. So we've got Siege, Workshop News, Workshop Stores, Games Day 98, which is basically it will be featured very, very soon. Mail order. We're talking about Epic 40k, and we're going to delve into Titans here. Warhammer Game of Fantasy Battles is basically take a look at this. Siege has just been released, so we have Siege Works, City of the Damned, Encounters of Warhammer Kind, Gothor, the Beast Lord. Got some Necromunda bits and pieces going on here. Then we've got a 40k here. This is 40k still with the second edition, because that's the yellow logo just got going there. So we're basically working with second edition rules. Legion of the Damned pieces, Imperial Fist, Supreme Force, Operation Desert Strike, and Chaos Cultists. And there's a product code, barcode there for basically for secondary issuing. So let's turn the page over and look at the big gap. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that is terrible, isn't it? Anyhow, so we start with the White Dwarf blocks. You can see here, Paul is basically the fat block or an editor. Adrian Wood is still with us, Graham Davies still there, Andy Sharman is still there, myself as the new bloke, and Ian Brickstock has moved on to Pastors New. I think he started working for Black Library at this time. We start with the soapbox here, which is basically a news section written by Graham Davey, Wordy. And another thing to say about Wordy bloke here, again, he suffered through a lot of my writing, a bit much like basically how some of my editors do now. But he was a fantastic bloke, and I can't thank him enough for his patience he showed towards me. Ironically, here we're talking about Mercenaries for Hire, Dogs of War. Dogs of War was basically the last army book I worked on before moving over to White Dwarf. I think it was the Dogs of War and 40k. So, as I said, mentioned before, it's 3 months in advance. We've got some pictures here, and likely I took all these pictures that you're going to be seeing for Dogs of War, but that's going to be covered in a further issue. Beautiful, beautiful miniatures. I really loved the Italian, or so to say, the Italian Renaissance feel of these actual figures we've got going on here. Construction complete. If engineers have basically started construction of the Mighty Castle here. The Mighty Castle is just here. The Mighty Fortress. If those who remember long in the tooth, remember the first Mighty Fortress was a polystyrene construction. This was the first plastic kit, and it actually was tooled and developed by the actual plastic people we were working with at that time. Turning over the page here. We've got basically the new releases mentioned for this month. I'm going to see if I can flatten it a little bit here, that horrible thing that happened there. And we basically, the first piece of news is we have a new figure designer on the block, Chris Fitzpatrick. I think he moved over from the heavy metal team, painting team, and he just started started sculpting. I think he's been sculpting for some time, so basically he's still kind of a trainee, but he's still getting his first miniatures out there. Belladonna, he did a few other Tillian stuff, and we're going to be seeing some of his miniatures actually in this issue. And a wonderful actual hag queen, which I thought was really, really nice. Anybody here remember Warhammer Quest? Yeah, here we go. A time for heroes from the four corners of the old world. Mighty heroes stride forth to lead armies to victory. I loved Warhammer Quest. I actually had a barbarian hero called what's his name again? Oh my gosh, it'll come back to me in a second. I think it was something really weird, like Scandinavian, like Stokebrok or something like that. He spoke in a silly accent like this entire game, and I drove my entire game of gamer's plays. Absolutely crazy. It was a fantastic mix of basically board game, tabletop game, and role-playing game. Beautiful miniatures were made for this game, mostly done by Gary Morley. Imperial Noble is really beautiful. I painted the War Dancer for myself, and the Cresting Knight, which I did in a blue and white colour, which I may have snuck around somewhere. So if I ever find it, I might just show you a few pictures in the near future. Some beautiful pictures there. Basically, we continue our features. Basically, who is the youngest reader of White Dwarf? Basically, customers are sending in pictures of their kids looking at White Dwarf. Turning another page here, we're basically more near Space Hulk Wreckage. This is a special game that's going on. Games Workshop Nottingham Exhibition Centre is just starting at this moment in time. The Grand Tournament's about to begin. Fantastic little place there. It's grown up to be so much bigger now. Bugman's Bar and Exhibition Centre were put together. I think it's a much bigger thing now. I've not been in the UK for almost over 23 years, so I don't know what it looks like, but I've only seen pictures and that kind of thing. And it's much more developed than it has been before. Now this is significant. Warhammer 40k Summer Madness. Why is this significant? Because, and we all know what's going to happen here, we are a couple of months away from the release of Warhammer 3rd Edition, so they're now offloading all the old 40k stock. Bits and pieces going on, some space battles done by a computer game, some quickies here. Jervis Jansen is converting the rules for Dungeon Bowl. Remember Dungeon Bowl? We individually credit Dave Andrews of the epic 40k buildings and plastics and blood reavers. From that, it's actually Tim Adcock. Sorry, Tim and Ali. Tim was a great guy, by the way. I also apologise to the American Pennies for sending Paul Sawyer to US Games Day. I had no idea he went to US Games Day. I can't remember that, but that's probably before I really jumped onto the team. Black Library scribblings going on there. Interesting thing here about these shields down here. Let's see if I can get them close to the camera. You can see them. These shields were basically put into place so we could put these numbers in here. These numbers were basically a linotype. Everybody remembers linotype, but basically they're like rub-on letters and numbers. I had a linotype all the pages in White Dwarf. That was my job. These are basically linotyped directly onto the film, so the black film was my lettering linotype here. So you can see these numbers will probably bob up down a little bit. It was basically we had to eyeball these letters in and then put this little sheet of plastic onto it and basically use a pencil and rub the actual number onto there. Okay, now the first page we're coming to here is issue 6, Wanted, Warhammer Monthly. I still think Warhammer Monthly should have been the traditional English magazine style. As I mentioned before in my previous walkthrough White Dwarf 223, we basically saw these as a huge file. These are the last things we added to the production file. They were like huge, totally done a bit in Photoshop as a PSD file. It's like they didn't know how to use Quark Express we used at the time for page that. Everything is in Photoshop because Photoshop apparently was a better layout program. Oh, the fools. Anyway, Warhammer 40k, Warhammer 40k, I know what I'm talking about. Warhammer Siege works. I can tell you this now, without a shadow of doubt, I laid this article out here. In fact, all the pictures you can see in here were done by me, probably for Warhammer Siege. I'm going to have to see if I can find the book in my archives. And if I can, I'll do a walkthrough of that book and the production work we did for it. As you can see here, that's the castle was made out of plastic card with basically little pieces cut out for the stone there and painted with a textured paint. This is a rundown of Siege, what's going up and going on in it. This is written by, I think it was Nigel wrote this and Thomas basically had the bits and pieces. These were added at the last minute, painted by the heavy metal team. Can't remember who did that piece there. It's completely escaped me. It may have done by Nigel Stillman. Then we have the Warhammer Fortress. Again, this is a beautiful, beautiful kit, and I hope some of you got this before it disappeared forever. I think it might be back now, maybe it's a different version. But you can use it for all kinds of stuff. As I mentioned before, the original Warhammer Mighty Fortress was made completely out of polystyrene. This was a wonderful plastic piece. As you can see, it's a fantastic little miniature castle for you to basically play your games out of. Scroll the page over again. Making moats and ditches. I'm pretty certain this was featured in the Warhammer Siege article itself, but I can tell you now that this stage by stage was done by me. I built this, I made this. I can tell because you look very carefully here, and I'm going to bring this up to the camera again so you can see. You see the orange coral rocks. Let's see if we get a bit closer. Hang on, there we go. This way. Oh no, it's this way. Orange coral rocks there. From my basically box of mini terrain pieces, and that is basically my sand as well, and probably my painting style, because I basically did it in a layer of goblin green painted over the thing. You can see a breakdown in here, did an L shape as well. The reeds are basically made out of old scrubbing brush pieces stuck into the glue. Fantastic little fun thing. I think I did an entire melt. Basically, at the time, went round my Lizard Man castle, which I built, which will be featured in a future issue. You can see bits and pieces going in here. Again, I laid this out. I basically put the bits and pieces in here. I think I actually did this piece here. Probably useful building materials, basically based off of what I could find, and I had running around for myself. Turning the page over here, we have Warhammer 40k Legion of the Damned. You all remember Legion of the Damned? We had Legion of the Damned in 223. We basically featured the appearances of them. I never quite agreed with these guys being a actual army. To me, they always felt there should have been like a special squad that appears in special scenarios, so basically like a one-off games, never as an army itself. Des Hanley did the artwork for these. That's basically Des Hanley piece here. Again, I did the layout for this article. I remember this specifically doing the layout for this. Because you got little bits and pieces down here, which basically pieces of colour. Some were basically added by Jervis, and some were actually made by me, of all people. This is basically another use of the big tablet here. This was like 3 pieces of art slammed together. You look very closely, you can see some distortion in this here, basically, because that and that are just a mirror of each other. Such a Legion of the Damned words, because basically this is Warhammer 40k 2nd edition, so basically the army lists were a little bit different. And then we have basically the full spread of the Legion of the Damned figures. All the pictures taken by myself. Green on green. Yeah, that was a design choice. I can't even read it now, but I am in my 50s and when I'm wearing glasses, and I can't read now. Should have done a bigger type of some blackening. In fact, you can't see on any of these pieces the actual names. Because green against a background of basically a background that's not a solid just disappears completely. Looked fantastic on the computer, I can tell you that now, but it looked bloody awful in print, but it was too late by that point. Again, I never really agreed with the Legion of Damned actually being an actual army itself, because they should just be squads that appear in it. You can bring it in like a special unit. But it was basically a choice made at that time, I think, basically to sell more the shoulder pads. As you can see, that is one of the old Rhino kits there. Beautiful set there. I actually bought the 3 set when basically you could buy these sets of 3 for like, I think it was like what, $5. Basically you can make 3 rhinos out of that set. Fantastic kit. In fact, you had enough pieces to basically, if you could find the enough overmode kit bits, you could probably make a 4th tank out of it as well. Let's turn it over the page. Then we have the army selection. It has, again, another big use of that grey slab there by myself. All the pictures again were done by me. Des Hanley's artwork here. I'm hoping I got his name right. I'm going to have to look it up to absolutely be certain. So apologies if I've got the name completely wrong, but I do know it was Hanley at the end. Des does sound quite right. Bits and pieces here. Again, another weird design choice. So basically a very dark grey thing with black text on top. Yeah, I didn't make the best design decisions sometimes, but it got through Paul and Wordy and got printed. So there we go. Especially if you've got with a lot of black on this page. When you print on the page, the black will come up and smudged more, because the paper's not the best quality paper in the world, but magazine quality paper never is. It's kind of shiny, so everything's kind of skids on the page. Let's get this more in the centre if I can. Here we go. There we go. That's much better viewing for you, so I can actually see what's going on. We keep going around here. So basically, that means basically it's a 40k Space Marine army that just happens to have skulls on it, and they're slightly stronger and tougher. Yeah, I still think there should have been a squad, but that's just me. Devastator squads, Rhino squads, attack bikes. A nice little Legion of Damn piece of artwork then. I can't remember who did that piece, unfortunately. Nicer use of the slab there design again, and Shoiza Centaurus, who was basically a free guy if you bought in your Legion of the Damned. Again, I think he was a free figure. I think a Games Day figure, if I remember rightly, but I could be wrong. Somebody down in the comments below, let me know, okay? To another page here, and we basically go into the second part of Mordheim, City of the Damned, and the first comic book page to appear in White Dwarf since the last Derek the Troll, which I think was in 1994. Done in a very nice loose style. Actually, nice piece of art by Simon Colby. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Thud the Barbarian. If people out there remember that one, I absolutely love Thud. I think I own all the Thud miniature variations. Again, Thomas is basically making more of Mordheim here. This is still very much a concept idea, so we're just trying to figure out if it's going to be proper enough to be a box game. Who knew it would turn into the box game that it did turn into, which is fantastic and great. Thomas did a fantastic work with this, and we basically teamed up to basically run the Mordheim playtesting. He was the Night Lord, I was the Day Lord. Never quite sure I figured out what that was. I basically meant that people could ask me about some rule qualifications. I would help him there. So with all bits and pieces, and just basically help Thomas to basically run the games. So again, you can see down here the little shields with the slightly off-kilter numbers there. Okay. So what's going on here? So basically, I can't remember who laid this one out. It may have been me again, but it was Adrian did work. Andy did work as well, so it may be a whole mixes of us. Paul did some stuff, bits and pieces as well. It was primarily Adrian, Andy, and me who were doing a lot of the layout work. Graham was doing a lot of a lot of editorial writing and basically wordy checking. Paul was basically making sure everything pretty much ran. Again, we're using a lot of these plaques and plics to basically push out the text. It looks really nice. Lots of special rules here going on, and you was probably recognize some of these rules appearing in the actual Mordheim itself when it finally was released. This piece of art pulled in here. Thomas's last words about the game. Possessed them by Mark Bedford, great guy. And then we go into the Imperial Fist Supreme Source now. Guessed by the white, the green on black, who laid this page out and thought this is a really good idea. Yes, that's right, it's me. Oh my gosh, the design decisions I made back then. I'm trying to remember if I took the actual box set picture. I think I might. This picture, I think I might have, or maybe somebody else did at this time, because I did a lot of box set pictures at the time. I certainly did this piece down here. And it's basically, it's an Imperial Fist Supreme Force. That means you basically got special Imperial Fist shoulder pads with the Space Marines there, but it made a good set for you to pick up and buy if you wanted to basically get a starter set for Space Marines. So you can see here's some bulk plastic Space Marines there. Really nice little thing going on. So Space Marine Supreme Force. Then we go into another Black Library ad, which is probably a huge file size and sucked our memory. Because remember, this is back in the 90s, so we're not having gigabytes of storage, we only have megabytes. And we're using things like basically portable SCSI drives and zip files and all kinds of crazy stuff. So you can imagine how much this ate our server space up. Now, here's a special one here. First Encounters of the Warhammer Kind by Mike Miller. Now, a lot of Warhammer folk have very fond memories of Mike Walker's articles. I promise I said Mike Miller for some reason. Mike Walker's articles. They were hilarious. They were funny. They were basically a snapshot of how gamers played games. And the footnotes here are funny as heck. I recommend you, if you can find these White Dwarfs, to pick them up just for Mike Walker's articles alone. Again, coupled with this artwork, I really love the fact that basically we didn't take Warhammer too seriously back then. It added that nice bit of fun angle to the game, the more satirical edge that the game has, instead of all the grim dark that went on. Little Nurglings, ain't they cute? Well, this is kind of fun too. What's behind the rock? Oh, it's a troll. Roof Riders, oh, that's nice as well. Nice though. This is hilarious, funny to read, a great snapshot on how people game. I was a little goblin fanatic there, and basically it was just a fun thing to basically read in front. It was actually a nice piece of lightness. White Dwarf should have done more of these. I felt we should have done like a 40k version of it too, because what we failed to do, or we were getting better at this time, was basically talk about gaming being real to real gaming. So we did it in kind of like a weird White Dwarf way, like semi-official, kind of serious about it all. But gaming's supposed to be fun. Gaming's supposed to be inclusive for all and fun. And this article really put that across. Battle of Newbie Pass was basically a special Mike Walker article. I think Adrian Rudd did this one actually, so it's actually kind of nice. And there we go. Talk about his two armies here and his rabbles. Again, basically, he also had a limited amount of toy soldiers, so basically his armies were, you know, smaller and more compact, and had a lot of fun there. Little battle report of what actually happened. I really love that treatment down there. That's fun. And then we basically go into, hey, join White Dwarf. So do operations, editorial stuff, and production stuff, and join White Dwarf. This is hilarious because basically, literally, 2 months prior, we let go over a ton of production staff. So yeah, that was well thought out. Anyway, then we go into pit saves by Andy Sharman. This is Andy Sharman article. He laid this out. Lots of Necromunda pictures taken from Necromunda book. And you can go through here. This is basically, so you have a pit slave gang, which is one of the outlaw gangs. Nice little there. That was a conversion there. These are kind of nice there. I'm not quite sure how pit slave would get hold of a plasma gun, but you know, weird weapons appeared all the time in Necromunda. Again, some more photography work going in here. John said, journalists another exercise for Necromunda. Take a look. But at this point, we're starting to try and push people over to basically other articles as well. Nice little letter here by Andy, actually. Then we go into basically Magic, Warhammer Magic, or the box set of card. You got a lot of card for your money in this box set. Everybody had to have it because you needed to do Magic in your games, and that's where you found all your Magic, right? Great little supplement, actually. Just lots of cards. Those of you who got this will remember this. Like it weighed more than I think actually the actual Warhammer game. Okay. Now we're talking about some 40k articles. So this is another Warhammer 40,000 second edition by Ed Spedigue, GW Canada. Why is I am pointing out his name here? Ed Spedigue was my boss when I was in Games Workshop mail order before he moved over to Canada. He ran the mail order department as the manager. Basically brought us from basically a 3-day turnaround to a 24-hour turnaround, a majority of orders. Then he moved over to Canada. This is the army that he took pictures. He came over from the. I can't remember if he took. Yeah, he did. Yeah, because these are flat format camera pictures. He came over and basically it's taken out there. Nice little 40k army. Nice little Imperial Guard. Still think my Imperial Guard army is much better than his, but that's, you know, it is. Nice paint jobs on his assassins. He did his styles are very pastel light, very highlight until basically it was almost white. Nice little army there. Not much in the way of basically effective fighting, I don't think, but you know, it does look pretty. Oh look, some Adeptus Astartes. No, Adeptus Custodius. Oh my gosh, I am all over the place. I told you I'm an unreliable narrator. Anyway, I think I laid this one out. I laid this one out because it's a 40k army. It's a 40k army and it's Imperial guys. Definitely me who laid this out. Probably took the pictures too. But as I said, this is 25 years ago. Some of the stuff up is pretty stuffy. In fact, I did use Anthony Bath, who was staff photographer at the time, to do a lot of my photography for White Dwarf, so I could free my time up to do White Dwarf articles. So he made me taken by Anthony Bath. Here is Realms of Chaos. This is a little more than advertorial. I can tell you now, I did that box set sleeve and Chaos Arbiters, and even had to take that picture just there. This is the Chaos Army. Look, it's Chaos, and we did Beastmen versus Chaos because basically it was Chaos Warriors and Beastmen, so that made sense. But look at that black; you can't see anything, can you? You know, it's basically, you know, army versus army. Nice little shot. Did it in a V formation to do nice little photography. Okay. Games Workshop. Games Workshop actually in every store. It's done by, I think it was done by Adrian. He'd handled a lot of these bits and pieces. Just basically, you know, where the stores are. Then we talk about the next upcoming event. I try and remember these bits and pieces, these asymmetric pieces came from. I think they were part of Warhammer Siege, or built in. I think they were built in for Warhammer Siege and coloured that way. This, I can't even remember who did this graphic here. It was a composite. Maybe Andy Sharman who did this, but I'm sure if Andy ever gets to see this, he can say, "No, Nick, you're talking nonsense." So here we go. Store events, Warped and Twisted, all fun stuff like that. Grand openings. We were on a tear of opening stores in the UK at this time. And Your Career Games Workshop. Oh my, yeah, the red shirts. And that's aptly named in Kurd. If anyone is Star Trek is whenever a red shirt appeared with Captain Kirk, they died. I met some real fantastic blokes in retail with red shirts, and I knew them for like a couple of months and they just disappeared. High turnover. Is what one would say. I like to think basically they'll probably basically were seen as disposable. I do know that John Stallard, who basically was running around doing retail and sales at that time, did basically see us all, called us all soldiers, which I thought was fundamentally unfair because we're employees, not soldiers. But hey, that's just the way it is. We got here basically these guys who were fantastic, great. They were basically the backbone of Games Workshop, and they don't get enough praise for everything they did and everything they put up with. They were great guys. That's all I've got to say. Okay, sales crew at Games Workshop. You thought retail staff had a short lifespan. They were relatively, you know, these were mayflies, these poor buggers. Anyway, Chaos Cultist, another 40k article. So I do specifically remember laying this out because I remember taking the pictures of these. If you look very carefully at the images here, this is classic how you're supposed to take a toy soldier picture. The base here. The base height is equal to the width at a slight 15-degree angle, so you get a little bit of the sense of the 3D of the item. And basically the blue, we shot it on a white to blue background with an X marking where you're supposed to place the miniature. I believe this was the backgrounds were diligently manipulated, so basically we had a consistent gradient going throughout these. But that's how you're supposed to shoot toy soldiers, everybody. Height, width, about 15 to 20 degrees. Then you get the perfect miniature picture. We also were using large format cameras. Large format cameras are very similar to what you would see in Victorian times. Big old plain cameras. You would not believe the size of the heft of them. But I got pretty good at basically taking pictures of those damn things. Not really trained as a photographer. I did like a 3-week course doing my graphic design qualifications, and that was basically my photography. But I actually figured it out and got it down to almost like not a science, so basically it was a knack of basically going click picture, perfect focus every single time. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I definitely laid this out. I remember taking all these pictures here. I never quite understood why they were basically a grey blue, but it kind of basically fits the whole chaos, we're corrupted and dying sort of thing. Great for small skirmish games, about 500 points. If you're going to get your Dectus Custodes or small Imperial Guard unit. I'm not quite sure how it's Cultist hefted that heavy bolter, but this was back in Warhammer 40k second edition, so basically the old weapons were still kind of shoulder mounted. Games Workshop training managers, I'm not going to say any more about employees and their lifespans. Oh, yeah, we are about to die, let us salute you. Games Day 98 is coming. This is September, this is August, and this is August issue done in May. We won't even really talk about Games Day until, well, basically after September, so it took us a while to get there. Games Days are absolutely crazy. I experienced them first as a mail order troll, basically working the retail side, all the way through to basically working in the studio as in the studio section as part of White Dwarf. I actually got to carry the Golden Demon sword on stage once, which was an amazing experience. I had to take it down from the stand, people cheering, carrying this big old sword. It sounds kind of interesting, but I was absolutely petrified I was going to fall down the steps, because one of the things, if you get to know me, is basically I have a dodgy knee, to say the least. My left knee is almost completely non-existent nowadays. Going up and down steps, I really have to hold on to a banister. Oh, I'm just going to fall head over tit. Right, okay. Here we go here. Lords of Battle, this is an Andy Sharman thing. He took all the pictures of the Titans here. I love Titans. I love Titanicus. I remember when that box set first came out. I was very disappointed that it got kind of put to the wayside and they not became a main thing of the games. In fact, Titan and Titan Battles kind of felt kind of clunky, to say the least, back when they basically did the Epic 40k Wars. Excuse me. But it's written by Ian Compton, laid out by Andy Sharman. Those old Warlord Titans look really nice, don't they? They've got like a real good machine feel to them. Gargants, hilariously fun things. That had actually been a Gargant picture I may have taken. Elder Phantom and Revenants. Remember these like big? The first ones of these were like big, long, and lanky, and now they basically made them. I didn't like the way they basically were kind of like made more boxy and machine-like. Elder stuff should be flowing, organic, and I didn't really look too organic to me. Epic 40k into basically Warhammer Siege, the Siege of Castle Ravenberg. I cannot remember who laid out the battle report for the life of me. This basically takes up the majority of the rest of the White Dwarf. Thomas Perrin versus Gordon Davidson going through a siege. It was kind of interesting. That's the old Mordheim Giant, if anybody remembers that. This was kind of an interesting battle here. It's actually no way I don't think the defenders should have got through the castle. The attackers should have got through the castle walls, but that's just where it is. You can see a bit of red going on in there too. Fun little army, nice little pictures here. I cannot remember. I think this might be an Adrian Woods. Did put lots together with the help of Andy Sharman. I cannot remember. But maybe if they pop up, they'll let you know in the comments. If you can remember yourselves, again, put it in the comments here. Even if Gordon or even Thomas appears, who knows? Nice little photography here. But basically, it's more of a showcase of the Warhammer Fortress more than anything else. And the actual siege pieces, bits and pieces. Basically, tell you what's going on here. Thomas was a fantastic bloke, by the way. Fantastic bloke. And there we go again, bits and pieces here, and Gordon losing at that time. And it's a battle report. I'm not sure what you said about this. I can tell you now. Dispel the myth that basically battle reports were not rigged. They were not rigged at all. And basically there we go. That's the battle report there. And obviously we report about it. They were always fun to report on. And that's a kind of an interesting use of that plaque there. I probably would have made that text a bit smaller myself. And Gordon wins the battle, and I can't remember how he won it. I think he got into the castle, broke the wall down and got in. So that was kind of fun. And then we got into Gorkamorka. I still love Gorkamorka. I was actually quoted for a Goonhammer article about Gorkamorka and how Gorkamorka changed how the studio did games, because we were took over, basically the game releases were took over by sales. They wanted a punchy, fast game. We gave them Gorkamorka in like less than 3 months. And they basically screwed the pooch because they overdid it a lot. Over basically estimated how much people would buy a game about orcs driving around really fast in an Necromunda style setting. I still maintain this was a fantastic driving game for basically the scale. It worked and worked quite well. A little abstract in there, but worked quite well. I think the setting could have been a little bit more Mad Maxy. Maybe take away the orcs a bit more and make it more humans. And bring in the orcs as a side force, like an Ash Race thing, which I think they're doing now in Necromunda Ash Race. And so, but it was a fun game. I enjoyed it. I basically playtested the heck out of it. You probably see my orc track vehicle in the actual rulebook itself. I called it the Volvo, and it was built completely out of any piece of plastic I could find. So fully recommend. If you ever find Gorkamorka, pick it up. It actually is a fun game. Another Inferno article. Inferno, huge file burners. Games Watcher Melody. I think at this time Adrian was still doing this. It's not. I don't recognise any of the page layouts, because when I took all these pages, the layouts changed to showing the toy soldiers at a significantly better size. These are tiny. You can barely see. Look at that. It's just disappearing into the blackness. Legion of the Damned bits and pieces here. Chaos Cultists, yeah, we did a better. I think I did a better job when it came. I finally took these over, but we were in a transition period at this time. Big old Flash! Look at these! Look at these buys! Look at buy these now! Buy one get 2 free. Lords of Battle pieces of machine parts, are basically the Titan parts. I think I took all these pictures when I was working in mail order. Basically, there was a point when Time and Miller was supposed to do all these pages themselves. I had graphic design experience, so they basically teed me up with a guy called Will, and I basically took all these pictures of the toy soldier metal. This was basically blacked up using boot polish, then basically white clean, so the boot polish was an indentation, so it basically gave you a nice contrast so you can see what's going on. So these actually bit pieces of my pictures. Then we go into new email. This month in mail order upcoming is Dogs of War Advance Order. That is the last army book I ever worked on. I think it's coming up in next White Dwarf 225. So yeah, you can see a lot of my pictures in that one there coming up. Troll 9 pieces here. Sample sample order form, and the White Dwarf subscription. This was a bargain at the time. We were basically trying to up the sub numbers. I think we could have done an even better job, but this is basically how we sorted that this time. I might have laid this out, this very awkward looking clip over here. But this was an interesting deal. You got 2 year subscription for $75, and you got the choice of a box game, which is actually, if you got the right box game, you really did get a bargain. Like Warhammer would have been a fantastic one to pick up for this. Even Space Hulk was a marvelous board game to while away the evening with. And you basically would get, on 1 year subscription, you would get like Dark Millennium or Warhammer Magic and Dig Up. In fact, 1 year subscription was worth picking up just to get hold of Warhammer Magic, because that was huge. And the last picture on the cover, and I can actually guarantee you, that's one of mine. This was the plastic card thing with basically I can't remember what these are called now. Palisades over the top of them. I did this because I remember taking this. I remember we took this picture, and then we basically forgot we left a skeleton out at the back row here. Because that was a bit of a balls up. I should have really took some out from there and put it behind here. So yeah, that's that. That is the walkthrough of White Dwarf 224, August 1998. Voila! I hope you like these walkthroughs. I have located my White Dwarf 225. It is actually the American edition. I don't think I have a UK edition of it, but I will do a walkthrough of that. If you guys want to see more, let me know in the comments below if you want me to basically talk more about my experiences in Games Workshop. I will happily do more walkthroughs of White Dwarf or any of the gaming supplements I worked on, although I would probably limit myself to commentary to the stuff that I actually was around at the time and worked with or worked on. I have a specific period of time which I was at Games Workshop from like 1992, 1994, 95. I moved to the studio. That's probably the best period of time for me to basically talk about business because I started working on product. And then I left around in 2000, came to the US, spent like 6 months not working, then about another 6 months working on Games Workshop website, and then basically started working on US White Dwarf. There's going to be gaps as we go forward, but I will try to do a commentary of every single White Dwarf I ever worked on. If you guys want to basically, want me to do that sort of thing, it's going to be a full-on behind the curtains commentary for what I can remember at those times. It's going to be a little bit unreliable, but that's the way it is. But anyhow, enough from me. I thank you for your time. 225 will be coming sometime a week on Monday. Let me know what you want to see in the comments below, and please share this video and subscribe. I think it's this one here. Subscribe will appear here, and subscribe here, and recommended video will be here, or this way around, or one of the two. Anyhow, you'll see the boxes come up anyway. So, spread the word. These are a lot of fun for me to take a look back. I'm starting to remember more and more things. And I also want to give a shout out to Ben of 90% Geek for basically interviewing me a few months ago about my time at Games Workshop, and kind of inspire me to basically give this a go. Anyway, I want to thank you all for your time. You all take care, and I will see you around for the next walkthrough. Oh, by the way, while you're at it, check out my Night Guardians comic books. I would appreciate it. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye-bye.